And that's not true.
Let me look it up.
That can't be true. Yeah. How would you look that up?
Oh, looking right.
Yeah.
Hey, welcome to Snackdown. I'm Justin, and this is
Andy.
Andy.
You've got quite the grin today.
Yeah. Well, we're sitting outside. We're back in Andy's backyard again, and not because it is a good setting, but just out of necessity this week.
Yeah, just logistics. We just ended up here, and this is something that we can take advantage of until 3 weeks from now when it's too cold.
Mm-hmm. When winter hits.
When winter hits
in New York. Yeah.
We're kind of hitting another warm spell, so it's 81 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah, it's a nice crisp autumn 81.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, things came up. We couldn't do it at our normal time, normal place, so we're just kind of sitting out back. But I guess it kind of fits because we're doing
it's an episode of the seasons in terms of cocktails, right?
The day this comes out, it will already be fall.
Mm-hmm.
And so we decided to hit off the fall with a fall episode, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to do a couple things. And for this nice, crisp, cool autumn day, the first thing we're going to do is hot mulled cider.
Spiked
with a little bit of brandy, right?
Yeah, I mean, they said spiked at some point, but I always think of hot mulled cider as being default as being alcoholic.
Yeah, so do I. And I usually do mine with rum, but you did brandy?
I did brandy, yeah.
So it'll be a little different.
Yeah, just standard low shelf brandy.
Mm-hmm. Even though it's hot, we wanted to do, it's just such a classic fall drink for me, at least.
Yeah.
Hot mulled cider is delicious.
So we're not going to take a break to make it, because I made it a little bit before the pod. I mean, I just took it off the stove as it was simmering or
it smells
warming
good.
up. And we'll get into kind of what's with it, or what's in it, rather. But we also have, do you hear the trees?
Mm-hmm. It's a little bit of windy. There's some, leaves are falling around us, which is kind of nice.
And you might eventually hear a... That's usually a leaf.
Sliding off the roof. I did hear that earlier.
So if you catch that and you're just is that an animal just kind of slow scratching? No, it's a leaf on the roof.
I'm going to take a sip of this.
Yeah, what the heck?
And then we'll talk about it.
Yeah, let's talk.
It smells so good.
Mm. Oh yeah, that'll get you there.
Yeah, that's good. And there goes a car.
So we used a recipe that had 4 cups of cider, and then 2 cinnamon sticks, 1 anise star, 4 whole cloves, and then a couple of peels of orange.
There's a bee. It's trying to get my cider.
Yeah, you got the sweetest thing on this acre, man.
Jeez.
We've got apples or apple trees too, but they're early apples, so they've already come and gone. Did you, that picked up on audio?
You pick up the bee because it landed right on the mic.
It was So I wanted to pair the cocktails obviously with a snack, right? I wanted to kick it off this week with some donuts, and this time of the year everyone's got apple fritters, everyone's got cider donuts, everyone's got everything under the sun. In the Syracuse area, there's, you go right on 20 at the Lafayette exit, and you just head west, and it's just apple orchard, apple orchard, apple orchard, and that's where Apple Fest is, and you can just pick your cider and fritter, to your heart's content. I did not go that route. Actually, there's a place called Springside Farms. It's a farming venue, and then they also do corn mazes and totally crazy stuff, zip lines. Mm-hmm. They've got this crazy bounce pad, which would be awesome.
Sweet.
But they also make donuts.
Nice.
And they're super good donuts, and they're super fresh.
They look good. They smell good. Everything on this, we're surrounding ourselves in a fall aroma.
Oh, yeah. And
I was gonna put on a flannel. I'm oh, it's so fall. We're doing a fall episode. I'm gonna put my flannel on. I was what's the weather like today? It said high of 87. I'm
yeah.
No.
Yeah. Our house actually stays pretty cool. And we kind of got a late start to the day. I'm still wearing my flannel inside because it stays nice and cool. And I just got out and it just hit me
hot.
like a hot blanket.
All right, I'm gonna have a donut. So these are cider donuts.
Cinnamon donuts.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's definitely a difference between farm donuts and then store-bought donuts. The dough is so different.
Mm-hmm. I think they've got a little donut machine kind of in the back. You ever been to Krispy Kreme and watched them make donuts on the donut machine?
Mm-hmm.
It's like that, but scaled super small.
Yeah.
And someone's just cranking them out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they're so good. And then they also have fudge. So of course I'm picking up maple walnut fudge.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Yeah, this is really good. So what does the star anise add to it? Star anise is kind of a licorice-y type thing, right?
Yeah. I think it's
very
subtle.
Because I was going to say, I don't really taste it, but I would assume I wouldn't taste it if it wasn't there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. It definitely gives it dimension, but it's hard to pick it out, for me at least.
So you spiced the cider,
yeah,
instead of getting spiced cider,
right?
So if you bought spiced cider, you wouldn't need all that stuff, correct?
I think so. I've never really seen spiced cider.
a couple of the recipes I was reading was like, pick up some spiced cider, or if you can't, you can spice it on your own. And I was like, I don't know where I would get spiced cider.
Yeah, never heard of that, honestly.
I guess. I don't know.
I mean, we get apple cider pretty fresh here anyway. I think most people are going to prefer, I feel like spiced cider
I would
would
assume
be something that's...
it's better than being a pre-made spiced.
Yeah. Yeah.
With all fresh ingredients is probably better.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll get into the other drink later that we're going to do, but we were kind of looking up like, oh, let's do some fall cocktails, you know. There's really not fall cocktails. A lot of them are like variations on regular cocktails, and they're just like adding apple to it, basically.
Like an apple sangria.
Yeah, there was like an apple margarita, and then there's like a pumpkin white Russian. We added in like a little bit of like pumpkin liqueur, I think, and then there was like, you know, adding a little bit of cider into a Moscow Mule. So it was just kind of like making regular cocktails into fall drinks.
Yeah. But a good classic cider was just, I mean, and honestly, it is warm out here. We're under an umbrella, which is good. Just trying to paint the picture for you guys at home.
Yeah.
But we're under an umbrella, like a little sun umbrella, and it's not too hot, right?
No, it's not too hot. But I mean, even this hot drink, it's still delicious. Like it's still, like it's making me a little bit hot, but I'm not.
Oh, really?
I'm not sad about it.
I actually feel cooler.
You do?
Maybe.
Because your insides are so hot, your skin is like cool.
Yeah, my skin's like, oh, okay. I thought I had it bad.
Yeah.
So, as you're sipping your drink, what'd you do this weekend?
Well, this week
I was
on vacation, and I went camping in the Adirondacks.
And you posted.
I did post
on Instagram.
Yes. So I did the first 2 peaks of my 46 peaks. So that was pretty cool. And it's the first time I ever camped and hiked alone.
How was that? Did you panic a little bit when you like got to places where you had 0 cell reception?
Not super much. So I camped at a KOA. I didn't actually backpack and camp. I've been there before, but this KOA, they must have upgraded because they had free Wi-Fi.
What's a KOA?
They're like all over America.
What are they?
It's like a type of campground, I guess. I don't know what it stands for. Campgrounds of America? I don't know.
That'd be a co-op.
I know, but when you're reading like their website, they spell campground with a K for some reason. But yeah, I stayed at a KOA. It was up near Lake Placid.
Oh, cool. That's awesome.
And what really saved me was having a power bank for my cell phone, because my cell phone battery's horrible.
Yeah.
But I was able to just continue to recharge it. Yeah. So I went up, and I camped, and I hiked up. I did Cascade and Porter, and I was the first one up both of them. So
for the day?
Like, yeah.
That's
so
awesome.
like it was early morning, and I was the only one up there, and you can like see like forever, and I was just kind of like sitting up there. It's really nice. It's peaceful.
And you brought snacks though, right?
Yep.
What'd you bring?
I was thinking like, okay, if I get lost in the woods, I want something like ration wise. So I had a lot of beef jerky in my pack, and then some like fruit bars.
Really?
Yeah.
Fig?
I think it was just like regular like strawberry. No, mixed berry, I think.
Ugh.
Yeah.
You know, like anytime it's like mixed whatever or like a punch, it's like always the first ingredient is just like apple juice because it's the cheapest. Or like there was just like apples plus blueberry concentrate.
Yeah. That's cool though.
Yeah.
But it was weird. So there were several people when I was hiking down. You know, I was passing hikers. Is that a bee?
Yeah, it's a bee. Just stay still. Stay still. Might be the first thing on the pod.
Yeah, but what if I like puff up and die on the podcast?
Oh, I thought you meant like puff up and like do like a defensive stance. Just do bear spray on
Yeah,
it.
so I was hiking back down, and I encountered, like, several different types of hikers. Like, so there was, like, one lady, she was, like, solo hiking, but from, like, 15 feet away, you could already smell her, like, her perfume. And I was like, who did you get perfumed up for going, like, hiking up a mountain?
I wonder if that's, like, for bears. Like, so it's, like, might as well smell, like, ladybug spray.
Yeah.
And, like, ward some bears off.
I feel like she was kind of wearing, like, one of those, like, sweatsuits, kind of, too.
What do you mean? Like a track jacket?
Yeah, kind of like a sweatpants and jacket that kind of match.
Like she was about to like bust out some breakdancing? Almost
like she was like met someone on an online dating thing, was like, meet me at the top of Cascade.
That sucks. Yeah. And she's just huffing and puffing and just like continuously like spraying.
Yeah, like, every like half mile she's like reapplying.
She's like, I don't sweat, I glisten, but I'm also going to add all this stuff. That's funny.
Yeah. And then it's
a weird place to meet someone.
Yeah. And then I met like an old couple like halfway up that was like, they looked like they were like exhausted and dying. They're like, how much farther? I'm like, you gotta wait.
I don't know if we talked about this before, but are you a hiking stick guy?
No, I did not wear.
You don't do the poles?
No.
How many trekking poles did you see?
Like everyone that looked like a serious hiker that had backpacks like mine, they all had poles.
Yeah.
But like I feel like they don't do me any good. I guess I don't know how to properly use the poles, because if I'm climbing up like rocks, I want my hands to be able to grab stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Was it a real scramble up to the top?
There's a couple rocks and stuff that you had to like climb over, and then at the very top of Cascade, it's a bald peak, so the whole top, the last
it's just like
100,
granite.
200 feet is just rocks, and you kind of like climb up the rocks and whatever, get to the top. So like with poles, I don't know.
Yeah, it seems like it would be a lot.
And even on like flat, level terrain, I always use walking sticks because I think they're cool, and then I end up using them as spears. I don't like... utilize them to like. You
hit Tito with them. Like,
yeah, we're like have a war and
you're like and my bow staff.
Yeah, but like I don't know how to utilize them, so it's like saving my energy. Isn't that what I mean?
I've used them in the past. So I mean, we've talked about this. I was like with a troop, like in Boy Scouts, that was like super gear heavy. So we were like into it. I don't think they'll really save you energy. Maybe they just help a little bit with balance, Just because you got something crazy on your back and it's unsteady. And that's the only thing I would think of.
Yeah.
Because if you twist your ankle, you're like screwed.
So the whole path up is like very rocky. Like you just got to like choose your foot carefully. The whole thing is just like rock.
Like smooth
and then
rock,
I hear this
or like jagged or...
Just like, it almost looks like there's a big rock fall.
Oh, okay.
So there's rocks all over the place.
Okay.
That's kind of what it looks like, but it's all the way down. So you're just kind of like walking on trail and then like climbing over rocks and stuff. But I'm walking down the trail and I hear this like do 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 do, and this guy like full sprint is just running down the hill.
Did he have like a fanny pack? Like things packed? You probably didn't see him.
He didn't have he might have had like a little tiny little like backpack made that held like a water bottle.
Yeah.
But it looks like he just ran up and ran down the mountain. He was just like carefully choosing like where his foot was and like, what in the world?
He's like, they call me the Adirondack Gazelle.
Yeah. Because I'm like, what is coming up behind me? And it was just this guy like bombing down the hill.
I asked you to go rock climbing like the day you got back, and what did you say?
I said no. I just climbed the mountain and I'm kind of tired.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was
I
like...
didn't even think about that.
The time that I went, it was the coldest part of the week. So basically, when it got to Wednesday, it was the coldest, and then by like Friday, it was back up to like 80. But Wednesday, the high was 63, which is when I climbed. Which was actually turned out pretty well because I was like hot and sweaty anyways.
Yeah.
So that was a good day. But both nights that I was there, it got down to like 35 degrees.
Oh, crap.
And I was like so cold. And like I have a pretty good sleeping bag and I had a blanket on top of it. But my tent is not a very cold weather tent. So it was very cold.
What makes a cold weather tent? Like airtight? Like
airtight. I think they'll use like thicker materials. Mine is like if I didn't have the rain, if you don't have like the rain top on, it's all open. So like it's kind of cool if you're out in the middle of a field on a clear night, you could like sleep under the stars without bugs, and then you throw the rain fly on, and then you're covered by rain and you're like more private. But it's not good for like 30s degree weather. So I was like super cold, and it's kind of funny because the first night wasn't as bad. I slept for a good while and then I was cold, but I just got up early. Second night was cold like throughout, and I kept trying to stay warm, and most of my heat was leaving my head because everything else was like covered.
Did you not have a hat?
I think I wear a hat at night.
Why not?
I don't know. But no,
you can totally wear.
So I was like trying to like find ways to.
Don't justify it like you're like.
So
no, why would I do that? And you're like, oh, actually, I didn't pack a hat.
Well,
you didn't have pack a hat.
I'm thinking like baseball cap or Indiana Jones hat that I'm like trying to sleep in.
No, like a beanie.
Yeah, no, I don't have beanies.
You don't own
I'm
any
not a beanie
beanies?
guy.
What do you wear in the wintertime?
I don't. Just pop up my hood on my hoodie.
You remind me of, so you never saw Game of Thrones. But in Game of Thrones, like, even when they're going through, like, the dead of winter, you know, like, way north, no one's wearing hats. It's like, Kaylin and I are just, like, sitting there when we're watching it and, like, what's wrong with you, you idiots?
Yeah,
like,
that's
put
me.
a hat on.
Yeah, that's me.
It's cold. It's blowing. You don't wear a hat at all?
Mm-mm.
You don't have this, like, long, flowing hair that, like, you got to keep, like, perfect or anything. Like, you're just not a hat guy.
I'm just not a hat guy.
Is it itchy?
It's very itchy on my head, yeah.
You should wear, like, a do-rag over that, like, under that. And then put on a hat.
Yeah, but it's funny. So the second night, I was trying to find ways to like stay warm. So I would throw the blanket like completely over my head, and then I'd be warm. But then all I was thinking of was that conversation we had about anatomical dead space.
Oh my god! Oh man!
And I was like,
that kept you up?
Yeah, I was like, am I going to fall asleep?
No.
Because it just felt like more like confined in there.
Right.
Yeah. So then I was like trying to like open like a little hole in the blanket where I could like let the air in.
Do you have a mummy bag or like a sandwich bag?
I think it does have a mummy aspect to it.
Does it have a hood to it?
I think so. I didn't utilize that.
So I was going to say... Now you're not even a hood guy.
Like, that's weird, because then you're like in the hood. Where do you put the pillow?
Well, you can put it behind you.
Under the sleeping bag?
How big of a pillow did you bring?
I don't know, just a normal sized pillow.
Like house pillow?
Yeah, just a house pillow.
Oh, okay. I think people usually have like camping pillows.
Yeah, no, I didn't.
Yeah.
I don't have a camping pillow yet.
You'll get one. That's great.
Yeah. And then like some of the other people I saw were like, it's a bunch of young kids. I felt like it was like a field trip, but I feel like that's a really dangerous field trip.
Like how old? Like 10?
They seemed like maybe they were juniors or seniors in high school.
Wow.
But they were all like, there was like one older lady, and then there was just like 15 of these kids. And then they were like playing, like music out of their cell phones. And I'm like, when I'm in the wilderness, and I love like the...
That's what earbuds are for.
Yeah, like I love the silence and the birds and all that. Like, I don't want to hear like Cardi B when I'm climbing in the woods.
I can't tell you a single song by Cardi B.
I don't know. She's just on the radio. It was some rap song that they were playing when I was walking by them. I'm like, that's just the...
You're like, you kids are listening to rap? No, I'm kidding. No, I know.
I shake my hiking stick at you.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was fun. I went into Lake Placid. It's a fun town.
It is
and
a fun
there's
town.
a restaurant there called the Big Mountain Deli.
Okay.
And they have 46 sandwiches, one each for...
Each of the mountains?
Each of the mountains.
Wow.
And it's funny, I was reading a review of the place before I went, and someone must not have known about the 46 peaks. Because they're like, how can a restaurant have 46 sandwiches? Like, that's too much of a decision, and all that. And, like, it was just a big complaint about how many sandwiches were on the menu. I'm like, you don't get it.
That's funny. Can I do a story time?
Yeah, story time.
That was kind of a story time.
It was. It went off in a lot of different directions, though, so...
All right, so let me just do a quick story time.
Okay.
Okay, so I was in New York City. I was in Manhattan. We had a meeting or whatever for work.
Mm-hmm.
And then afterwards went to a comedy club. So we went to this comedy club, and like we get in there. It's very small. It's like 15 people max in terms of the audience. And I looked at the bill beforehand because I like comedy. Mm-hmm. And there was no one on the bill. Like, I mean, obviously there were people. I just didn't know them. And
so you just went there out of like, just out of the blue, kind of like looking for something to do?
Just out of the blue. Some people had planned it kind of after the meeting to do, and I was just kind of tagging along. So, I go to the bathroom, and, the seat's just like, nasty. And I just didn't want people to think like that I was like the last one that went, whatever. So I like wiped the seat down. The toilet seat just totally fell off. And that was the other bathroom was like out of order, whatever that means. Yeah. I would have thought that one would have been out.
It is now.
No, it wasn't. I picked it up with a paper towel. And
you put it back on? Wow.
Yeah, of course. That's what the person before me did, So we sit down.
Everyone before you has been wiping and knocking it off.
Yeah. And there's just like a persistent like group of people just going in, and like the phrase is just like, oh, shit. And then they just put it back on. So a couple of the comedians, like the hostess or whatever, the MC came out and she was talking, and a couple of the comedians went. And then they go, all right, this next guy was in the movie, the Emoji Movie. And it's like, who cares? It's the Emoji Movie, right? Yeah. Like, who cares about that movie? Yeah. So the guy that pops up is T.J. Miller, who...
From Silicon Valley.
From Silicon Valley, and the bartender in Deadpool. Mm-hmm. So he had a troubled past in, like, 2018, and then kind of, like, in the Me Too movement, kind of got caught into that, whatever. So some guy that was 2 seats next to me was speaking about that, like in a stage whisper. The guy was like saying it pretty loudly, and saying that to like one of our coworkers. Just kind of like telling, updating her on that. Again, 15 people there in the audience. T.J. Miller dialed that in, clocked me being like the tall guy in the back that was close to the noise that he was hearing, and then just started ripping into me.
Oh no!
Just roasting. Not good, right? Like it wasn't like his A game, like Deadpool, like, hey, how do I look? And then he's like saying like, you look like an avocado or whatever, But he basically just said like, he couldn't see me, but he goes, you could see that I have a beard, I guess. And he goes, oh, you think you really like your beard, but your beard's gross. Like, you think you're handsome, but you're not handsome. I mean, this is just a summation. Yeah. And he was just like ripping in. Your mom doesn't love you.
Oh, jeez.
No one loves you. Like, he just, But he did that for a full 5 minutes. So that's, that was my little brush with a celebrity, I guess.
That's so crazy.
Yeah. That's my story.
Well, that's a good one.
It was fun. Yeah. It was fun.
That's cool.
You want to take a break? And
yeah, let's take a break and we'll get in the next drink. We'll tell you what it is when we come back.
Yeah.
And then we'll also have some of this fudge. That's fudge, right?
Oh, fudge. Yeah, maple walnut fudge.
Looks pretty good.
You hear the trees rustling?
They're wrestling with each other.
Yeah. The tree's like, no, this is my spot for the sun.
All right.
All right, we'll be right back.
All right, take a break. Bye.
Hey, we're back.
Hey, we're back, and there's been a little nibble taken out of our donut, seemingly possibly a chipmunk.
We are not making this up. We saw the chipmunk fleeing the scene, so, and I'm...
A little cinnamon mustache.
Oh shit, look at this.
Oh, jeez, a large chunk of the fudge is gone as well.
You gotta take a picture of that at some point. That's insane. All right, well, we're really in the wild, aren't we? That's awesome. I'm gonna shake up our next drink, and we'll describe it then, okay? So we're gonna, I'm pouring it. I'm gonna, putting this concoction into a couple of glasses.
Yeah, so we have mixed it, we poured it, and then we gotta put some on top. So what we're drinking, this car goes by. What we're about to try, I don't think either of us have tried. Have you?
No.
I've never even heard about this before.
Me neither.
So it was just one of those in our search for fall drinks. This is an actual cocktail. It's not like an additive to a existing cocktail, so that's kind of why we picked it. It's called a Stonewall.
Yeah. And I don't think it has Civil War roots, just in case anyone's trying to get at us for, like, Stonewall Jackson. Don't get at us on that. It's just a stone wall.
But, yeah, the ingredients seem pretty fallish. So we're like, yeah, it's probably better than, like, adding apple to an existing cocktail or something like that. So.
Right. So it's made with... You wanna rattle it off?
Let's see if I can remember. We've put some rum in there, and then we've put some apple cider, some simple syrup. We made a ginger simple syrup because we were supposed to have, like, thinly sliced ginger, and we forgot to buy ginger. So Andy had, ginger powder?
Yeah, I had ginger powder.
Ginger powder, like spice, so he kind of made it into the simple syrup, so we'll see. You put it on ice, you shake it up, and then once you pour it into a glass with ice, you pour ginger beer on top of it.
I can tell you right now, it just, like, mixed right in.
Yeah.
I saw it just,
I don't know why...
I saw it really
separate.
just cascade.
I wonder if because they don't want you to shake the ginger beer because of carbonation, maybe.
Oh yeah, that's probably why.
Yeah, I just thought of it as I was saying it, so that's why.
But the way they described it, like, it made it look like you were just, like, floating it.
Yeah.
So you garnish it with a lime wedge and an apple, and we already ate the apple.
That's true.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so it looks pretty cool. Let's try this thing.
Yeah, let's give it a
So
whirl.
it's a little bit of a cool down from our last drink since this is over ice. It tastes a lot of ginger beer.
Yeah,
Should we stir it or?
It's mixed in enough, I think. I mean, it just has a lot of ginger overall.
That's true. The ginger simple syrup and the ginger beer.
Let's see if the lime cuts it a little bit.
You're gonna squeeze the lime in?
Yeah, I know it's a garnish, but
This bee really wants to be on the podcast. So bees. I got back from my camping trip. I get out of my car. I'm like, I'll take some of the stuff in now. I was kind of tired though, so I'll like take the important stuff in, and then I'll get the rest of it later. So I open up my back seat, and this big bee just like flies right into my car.
So there's a bee in your car?
Yeah, so a huge bee flew into my car. I would say it was a yellow jacket, but it was like twice the size of the bee that's currently annoying us. And it was flying in my car. I'm like, so I was like trying to get it out. I'm like, I'm not going to leave a bee in my car.
Why not?
Because then I'm driving around somewhere and it like...
It probably would have died.
Yeah. So I went around the other side of the car and opened up the door. And it finally like flew out. I'm like, sweet. And then I see two other bees flying to the other side. And I'm like, no.
They're like, we're just waiting our turn.
So then I like run around and they're both back there. And I'm trying to get them out. And I see 3 bees going in my front door. So there's like 5 bees in my car.
Would you just like smear like jam like on
I don't know. And so I'm like, I opened up all the doors in my car and none of them were leaving. So I'm like, screw it. So I just carried stuff in and left the car doors open and kind of like went in, like went to the bathroom, like left it out. And I went back out and I didn't see any bees. So then I like quickly shut all my doors. Oh,
he's out.
He flew out.
We like keep, we're like, oh man, what are all these bees doing here? And we keep bringing up like more sugary stuff.
Yeah, we're like, what are these bees doing? We're drinking apple cider with cinnamon donuts and walnut fudge. Like, who would blame them?
This is nonsensical. Get some diluted nectar.
Get your own fudge.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, it's very Moscow Mule.
Yeah, it is.
Like the lime and the ginger beer. I don't taste the cider.
I don't either.
Which is kind of disappointing. It's basically equal parts rum, apple cider, and ginger beer.
Yeah.
But I don't taste apple cider at all.
Maybe I went a little crazy with the simple syrup. Although it's kind of hard to like think about, okay, well, is like a fresh ginger gonna get off more ginger flavor than, the descriptor for the ginger was like 1 inch slice of ginger. It's like, what are the dimensions on that ginger?
Yeah, it says thinly sliced, but does that mean you're getting like flex in there? But you would strain it.
You'd like muddle it.
So you'd strain it out.
Yeah.
It would probably be a little bit more subtle than the ginger simple syrup then. Because it would just sit in there for the shake.
Got some crying kid.
Yeah.
Crying kid in the house now.
I heard him crying briefly, and it sounded kind of like a coyote. And
maybe we can kind of put that. Maybe we can kind of put that in the
when
pot.
I was camping, there were coyotes, and they were not that far off. And when you're camping by yourself in the woods and it's dark, and you just hear yourself like a pack of coyotes nearby, I was like, should I bring my knife into my tent?
You'd probably still lose.
Mm-hmm.
If they were
I
really
could take
hungry
off.
enough.
I could take one coyote.
Yeah.
If it got into my tent with my knife, but then the rest. The problem with coyotes is they travel in packs.
Yeah. And it's really hard to tell like how many there are.
Mm-hmm.
They're like they're like all over the place. Mm-hmm. This is good. I like it.
Yeah. So do you have any favorite fall traditions?
I got to say, my mom, like on Halloween, my mom would make lentil soup. Mm-hmm. I don't know how many times she actually did that, but that's like the most memorable one that I can think of. Mm-hmm. We try to do like as much acorn squash as possible too. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Do you do acorn squash?
I'm not a big squash person. We've talked about this, but I do like when you do like pumpkin carving or whatever, and then you like do some pumpkin seeds.
Oh yeah, the seeds are
like
good.
Salted pumpkin seeds in the oven. Those are so good.
I did some like Old Bay ones last year. I dig those.
Yeah, that's good.
That's pretty much it that I can think of. We try to do apple picking and
apple picking. I usually do at least once. Just I don't know. It's kind of a cool season for flannels and sweaters and.
Do you have a favorite place
cider.
for apple picking? I
apple pick a lot at Abbott's Farms. It's near Baldwinsville, I think.
Okay.
It's closer to me. That's why I go.
Yeah,
and
sure.
Beacon Skiff, the rise of Beacon Skiff has kind of like commercialized it so much. It's so packed usually.
It's packed.
You know, so it wasn't like it was when I moved up here like 10 years ago.
I was there on like a Friday at 5 or something like that, like last weekend. So not even technically into fall yet, and it was
crazy
busy.
there.
It was very busy.
They've got the distillery has grown since then, and then they've got their ciders. They're doing all sorts of stuff, which is cool. Like I support them. They're doing a really really good job at what they do. But
it's definitely as much of like an adult playground now as it is for kids.
Yeah, so it's a really cool place. But man, it is so packed now. So
we like to. So one thing that I've started doing since Kaylin and I have been like dating and getting married. Since being married, sometimes like just going out on like a 4-wheeler or whatever and just kind of checking out different wild apple trees.
I wish I could 4-wheel. So when I was a kid, my family has farms out in Iowa, and we used to go out there and visit all the time. And they own like 1,500 acres or something like that, farmland. And they have several houses along the same road, so they're basically the only traffic on that road.
It's all family. It's like
so
Wistman?
like it is my dad's side.
Oh, okay.
But they're not Wistmans. They're
but on his mom's side, maybe.
Yeah, it's his mom's side. That's what I'm saying. Like it's not. They're not all Wistmans out there. Wistman started with my dad, but his mom side, like the Aldens out there, and the Aldens go all the way back to the Mayflower.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool.
You got roots, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's
like
cool.
if you go down to like Plymouth, there's like a reenactor of my great grandpa.
Are you like
John Alden?
You're not as handsome as he was.
Yeah.
Do you like say stuff like that?
Yeah. Well, my uncle, he published a book on like our family history.
Oh wow!
And so he did tons and tons of research. Oh. And so like he's like, we should go test the guy, see how much like he actually knows, because my uncle knows like all of the stuff.
What does he know?
They're pretty well versed in like, because they kind of like, if you go to like the Plymouth colony, they just kind of like they're just kind of like living. For that day, they are that person. So
and then,
they like,
and then they're like, cell phone? What's a cell phone? Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's kind of tough to interact. It like actually takes a bunch of energy for you, like as a bystander or whatever.
Yeah.
What did you say? So you were there, right?
I was younger though, so I don't know. I also didn't know anything. So
were you just like, good day to you, sir?
Yeah.
Were you just like saying stuff like that?
What you staring in that pot?
They do like a muster, like a roundup thing to like teach the kids. They're like, all right, stand in line and we will see who are the swordsmen. And like you're like, sir, am I good enough to be a swordsman? And they're like, you might be a little short, but well, we could probably get you into it. And you just like stood up, like puffed your chest out, 2 feet taller.
And they kind of like are slightly making fun of you, but like as a kid, you don't really understand.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty cool. Like, there's a lot of, like, our family history in, like, Massachusetts, and especially in Plymouth. And, like, I don't know if you're familiar with, like, the poet Henry Longfellow. He wrote that Courtship of Miles Standish. Sometimes you study that in school. Anyways, it's about my grandpa.
Is it?
Yeah.
That's
like
cool.
John Alden. So it's, like, in that poem, Miles Standish likes this girl, Priscilla. And so he has John Alden, like, carry letters back and forth between them. but like in the time that he's doing that, him and Priscilla fall in love, and then they actually like get married.
Yeah.
But anyways, back to the 4-wheelers.
Yeah.
So we'd go out and visit my family in Iowa, and we'd 4-wheel from house to house and through the fields, and I miss that. We haven't gone out there in a long time.
These were good.
Yeah, this is good. Should we get into the fudge?
Oh, let's get into the fudge, yeah.
The chipmunk eating fudge, whatever's left of it.
Yeah.
What makes something a fudge?
Haven't we already been over this?
No.
I don't know.
Because when I think fudge, I think chocolate. I think it's like a certain state that you put chocolate in.
I'm not sure.
But there's no chocolate in this, obviously. It's maple fudge, though.
Maybe it has like milk and butter in it, and maybe that's what makes things a fudge.
You can definitely taste the milk
butter?
and butter.
Oh,
butter,
yeah.
definitely.
Oh, yeah.
That's so good, though.
Can you look it up just so we like know, so we can tell
Yeah.
so we can tell the
'Cause I wonder if
the reader.
Fudge is like a preparation process, not a...
Yeah.
So fudge is a type of sugar candy that is made by mixing sugar, butter, and milk, heating it to a soft ball stage, not a softball stage.
Soft ball stage.
Soft ball stage at 240 degrees, and then beating the mixture while it cools so that it acquires a smooth, creamy consistency.
So when they say chocolate fudge, chocolate is just the modifier. I mean, like you always hear chocolate fudge all the
so
time.
the main thing is sugar, butter, milk.
And milk. Interesting. What's up with fudge at like boardwalks?
Yeah,
Doesn't that, like,
that's
not make
that's
sense?
a thing. It's like a lot of fudge. Fudge and saltwater taffy is like just...
And they're like both like, you go to a boardwalk when it's like 90 out, right? And you're like, oh, of course, oh, gotta get the fudge. Oh, gotta get the saltwater taffy. And it's like melting right there.
Yeah.
Like you haven't even gotten it outside yet and it's already melting. It's like, what the?
It is weird.
Yeah.
It's just like a tradition of boardwalks.
Yeah.
So last week we talked about how I don't ever have time to listen to podcasts.
Uh-huh.
So I had a 4-hour drive there and back. And even today I drove here. So I've been catching up on some of my podcasts.
Oh, I thought you were going to say, and I didn't even listen to a podcast.
No, I was like, I have time to actually listen to my podcast.
What are you listening to?
So mostly I listen to...
Pretty cool one called Snackdown.
Yeah. Just re-listening.
I really identify with it.
We're so funny. No, I was listening to a lot to, I think it's probably my favorite podcast, Literary Disco. So it's about books. It's got Ryder Strong, who is best known for Sean of Boy's World.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so he's on it. And then...
The cool 90s kid?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
So he's on it, and then there's like an author and like an essayist, and they just kind of like, they'll read a book or whatever and talk, and it's pretty funny. It's good, though. This is something we never talk about. You're not a reader, are you?
I've heard a lot of good things about books.
Yeah. Because that's something we've never talked about. I read all the time.
You're an introvert. You know what I mean? Right?
Yeah, it's true.
Would you say so?
Yeah, I would say so. I've gotten a little bit more... I got better at being an extrovert, but I'm still an introvert.
And I think that's like where you recharge, right?
Yeah,
like that's
for sure. I mean, camping in the woods by myself is great.
Yeah.
If I was an extrovert, I would have been like, bah!
Yeah. I would have been like...
I got insane and...
Yeah. I like audiobooks. I mean, just because I'm like traveling a lot. I do like reading, but I don't think I've got a level of time where it's not like my primary recharge,
Yeah.
Like my primary recharge is like just interacting with other human beings.
Yeah.
So that's what I have to do.
I think it takes the right books to get you into reading, honestly.
Yeah.
And because I hated reading all through high school. And usually that's where you fall in love with reading, is people will read the right books in high school. It was after high school. I read a book by John Steinbeck, East of Eden, and I just loved it. And then I've just been reading ever since. As a reader, I probably don't read a lot compared to other readers, but I read about 20 books a year, which...
It's
decent.
Pretty decent, yeah. I'd probably read like romance novels.
Yeah.
And like gag books, like here's how to goof on your friends. You know? I'd probably do most of those. Well, I hope everyone enjoyed the nature sounds today. Yeah,
I hope the audio turned out good. I think we were a little bit more confident this time since the last one turned out pretty good.
Yeah. So I think we're a little more confident this time because we didn't have to like wrap pastry dough over a hot dog and have it like slide down. We really didn't have to make much.
I did, while I was camping, cook a hot dog or two over the fire. No pastry dough, though.
Okay.
But it turned out pretty good. Also some Jimmy Dean sausages.
Breakfast links?
Yep.
Nice. You didn't just take like the big tube of like just ground up Jimmy Dean and just like put it over the fire?
It there.
Yeah.
No, I wanted anything that was already cooked, so I didn't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
And I didn't worry too much about refrigeration.
Yeah. It's got enough salt in it, you know?
I was like, whatever. It's like a day or two. Who cares?
Well, hope you've enjoyed your week.
Tell us if you know of an actual fall cocktail out there.
Yeah, let us know what you drink beyond the classic spiked cider or the mulled cider, or beyond like an apple Rita or something like that.
Yeah. There was actually in my cocktails book a cocktail called Autumn Day.
Oh, nice.
So I'm like, oh, that sounds kind of cool. But it was rum, grapefruit juice and orange juice. And I was like, that doesn't ring autumn to me.
Probably looks like an autumn day.
Maybe.
Right? Because you got like the orange and then like the pinkish and reddish and like brown.
Yeah.
Maybe you just like leave it separated.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Peak foliage. All right. Well, yeah, thanks for tuning in, Snack Pack. We love your comments. You guys are crazy and great.
Yeah, and pop out there, eat some cinnamon donuts at your local apple orchard.
Or
pick some apples, make some hot mulled cider when it's 87 degrees out.
Or if you're in the area, check out Springside Farms.
Yeah, Springside Farms.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It took a lot of self-restraint when I was picking up the donuts not to just, like, run into the cornfield with a 1-year-old. So,
yeah.
But I didn't. So yay to me.
He, like, eats the maze and you're lost in the middle.
Yeah. I didn't bring a drink for him. Yeah. All right, well, you want to do the readout?
Yeah. Thanks for listening today. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and you can find this episode and others like it on iTunes, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and a bunch of other places. And you can go to our website at www.snackdownpod.com.
You look like you could be a Snack Pack member.
A little short, but you'll do.
Yes, we'll have you on the front line for the Snack Pack.
You don't mind bullets whizzing by your head at 80 degrees?
A couple
That'd be
of
a slow bullet.
A volley of balls. No, that's not it. You could be a pikeman for the Snack Pack. All right. Enjoy your week, guys.
Right. Bye.
Happy Snacker Day.
Yeah,
bye. Liquid nitrogen?
Yeah, you probably just get the finger at that point.
Yeah. Hope you didn't like the flash.
Yeah.